Hello peeps, this is Tim Off coming at you with a review game I talked about on a couple episodes ago of Nintendo Dads. It was a game I started playing that I've been enjoying, and it's Aggelos, or Aggelos, however you pronounce it. It's actually been very fun, and it's a game that PQube Limited, along with Wonder Boy Bobby, I believe, and Storybird, and Look at My Games all got together to make this game and deliver to us back in April of this year. And it actually has been released on other platforms more recently, which is why I believe we got a review code to give it a chance to review it on the Switch and convince you guys that this is probably the best place to play it. So with that, let's take a look at this game. So as you can see here, I'm actually looking at the eShop pictures of the game. And what I used to do when I reviewed games was go over the eShop with you guys, just to show it to you from that perspective, and that way you can find it there and what it looks like and read all the details with me. I'm just scrolling through some of the pictures. And as you can see, some of those pictures are showing some of the action here. And speaking of action, this game is an action-adventure platformer RPG. A lot to throw at you, but it actually is a great description of what this game is and the reason why I'm really enjoying it so far. And I say so far because I've only gotten, I'd say, almost halfway, because I'm finding the second element, or at least close to getting the second element. And that pretty much is kind of the main goal of this game, and it's your typical game where you have to go and help the princess in the kingdom take care of an issue by going to find these elements and join them together. And because you are one of the people that can use these elements, you are sent on this mission to do that. So here is the thumbnail for it. I'm going to start it up so we can take a look at it together. And this is kind of like, because I didn't complete this game, I'm not going to do a full review, but it's more of a let's play. So I figured let's jump right into it, and I'll start a new file on it while we're taking a look at it. So as you can see, this has some 16-bit graphics going, and I think I forgot I have to turn this down a little bit so it's not too loud while we're playing. Alright, hopefully that won't be too loud. But as you guys can see, the graphics are the classic 16-bit type graphics that we see a lot of indies doing. Maybe some of you may be sick of it. And you can hear it has a lot of the 16-bit as well. And I think a lot of the reviews do say 16-bit, but this kind of reminds me of almost like it could be 8-bit and 16-bit together, if that makes sense. But as you can see here, looking at the options, not much here other than changing the language. And let's go back and get to the adventure. And you can see this is where I'm at so far. I've been playing about 3 hours and 12 minutes. And that's about as far as I got to unlock it. And yes, there's some elements here that kind of, I think, would at least remind me of Zelda, and maybe you too, with the hearts and some of the other energy things here. So let me start a new file here, and we can start from the beginning. I started my file on normal. I'm going to do the same here, but as you saw, there's two different ones here, and you'll be able to see the story as it starts off. So while it's going through that, I'm going to talk about a couple other things here that I may have missed. I did mention that it's an action-adventure platformer RPG, so it has a little bit of the Zelda elements to it, some Castlevania, I believe, and some Metroid, because of the menus. And let's jump into that right now, actually. I'll look it over real quick before we get started. You can see here in the upper left corner there, you got your hearts. That's your health, of course, and you can build on it, as you saw for my file. You get a lot more files. And on the right, there's level 1. That meter right below it will show will basically fill up, and once it fills up, you add another level. And it also will show your experience. As your experience gets, as you get closer to 50, that meter fills up, and then you move on to the next level. And then the more levels you get, the more experience you need to fill up that level. And the time is in the lower right corner there, as you saw in my file that I did about 3 hours and some minutes. So we're just getting started here. In the upper center there, there's where you can kind of hold an herb there to restore your health when you get to 0. So that's a safeguard there. And then the coin with the 0, that's for collecting coins, and you use the coins to purchase items. So when you purchase items, you can use them to purchase equipment and items in your inventory. Right now you don't see anything because we just started it, but this is where you can get some potions. You will find some rings that will help give you powers in the game to unlock other areas in the game. So there's your Metroid type feel of it. Scrolls unlock certain abilities for you to do, to attack, do other things. And then there's your 4 elements on the right that you have to find. And I don't remember what's in the bottom square. I don't remember coming across anything for that yet. Like I said, I only got about halfway through, or just about halfway through. Equipment area, where you find your equipment. You can, again, buy things to get to that. And it adds on, give me that RPG element to do more damage and take more damage. So lots, it's not as deep as some RPGs, obviously. For me, this is the perfect amount of depth for me. So it's fast. I can just pick, when I get a sword, I can pick it, and some swords work in areas, some areas better, so you have to go back and maybe switch weapons. Anyways, the map, this is basically your overworld map, to give you an idea where you're going to be going, and I'll have more on that in just a minute. Of course, there's return and then quit the game. So let's see, now here we're starting off here in my house. Nothing can be destroyed in here, but as you can see, you're already wearing some armor and you already have a sword. So this continues on with the story to help the princess. So we have to battle this creature. Doesn't really give you a choice. Took some damage, but battled it pretty quickly. Now, this game does start off pretty simple, but it gradually builds you up to increased difficulty as you get more and more familiar with the game and familiar with your weapons. And it's actually, I like that aspect, and I'll touch on that a little bit more in a minute too. So, but let's get this princess. And I'm going through this quickly because basically we're talking about what's going on with the kingdom, and I'm just sending her to go back to my house so I can make a safe passage for her back to the castle, or at least send somebody back to get her to get a safe passage back to the castle. So with that, she goes back, and I'm gonna go on to the castle. And here, again, this game does really well in explaining things that you need. So here, this is a save point, recharges your hearts, and if I press up, I can save the game. So, and I'm using my Y button to make these selections, and then B button to jump. Y is to swing. So here we go. The other thing that I thought was interesting is the bear looks so nice, but then will attack you. It looks pretty mean, and it's kind of the same with some of the other things. Creatures actually look pretty nice, like, oh, they won't harm me, but then all of a sudden they turn like just angry. So, and yes, let's see, there are water levels here, so whoops, you gotta be careful. being a little bit more not as cautious with this, apparently, like I was when I first started this. Oops, got a little close to that. So as you can see here, this is a big empty space. Like, why would this be here? Well, I'm guessing that once I get to a certain point, I will get something that will help me go up higher. Right now I can't. There is a move that I know later that I get, which helps me create a bubble around me and float up for a certain amount of time. That's one of the from the water elements, or the rings that I get. So let's keep on moving and pressing through. Oh, see, get to see one of the herbs just jump in that I had there and heal me. But thankfully I'm coming up to this lady who is willing to help me. So you just walk up to him, press up, and start talking. So she gave me another herb. Good timing. And you press up to talk to people. And I can get here, get healed up, and also save. One of the things that you can do too is go buy things. There's that shop. Talk to people. And you can also talk to people that you won't understand, like this monkey. But later on, you'll be able to get the ability to talk to people. So here I am in my file, where you can see I've got in the upper left corner, I got more hearts that I've collected. In the center, there's 3 things. Right in the center, that herb I was talking about before, that helps restore my health if I get down to 0. I also have 4 containers of magic energy, so that when I use the elements, which I've collected, I can use up to 4 containers to do certain things. And then I have 5,036 coins that I've collected that I can use to purchase weapons, armor, and potions. And actually, I've also used it to purchase other items that are part of the story. Again, you can see my level is level 7 at this point. I got experience 2,364 out of 4,000. And that's changes, like I said before, from the 50 to the 2,000, from the 50 all the way up to 4,000. So the more levels the higher you get, the harder it is to get to the next level. And right now you can see I'm underwater, and I'm going to show you the menu. So I'm going to show you some of my inventory. These are the things I picked up. I have a key. I have the universal book that helps me translate languages, like I showed you before. To be able to talk to that monkey, I can now talk to them. And I purchased a potion. Other things I've collected is earth ring, and then the water ring. The earth ring, I got that first, and then got the earth element. I'm working on getting the water element, but was able to find the water ring, which helps me put a bubble around me. The other thing you can see here, this is what that box is for at the bottom, is a description of the things I'm touching on the screen. So like here, I'm hovering over the water ring, and now it's telling me press attack button to see a tutorial. So you'll see this whenever you get the item first, and then you can always refer back to it when you need it. So that just kind of goes again to tutorial. Scrolls you'll earn to be able to do new moves, new attack moves. And then equipment, these are the things that I've purchased along the way, and then the things that are blinking are the items I have equipped. And these items that I have equipped are perfect for water creatures. So coral armor and bubble sword. So it's great. As you can see, it's got an attack plus 44 underwater. So it's great for underwater stuff. One of the other things I found was a samurai armor, which I thought was really cool, but not as tough as when I'm underwater. More into that later. or at least you'll get into that if you get, or you should get this game and you'll get more into it. As you can see, I'm really liking it. So even though this is not a full review, I haven't played it all so far. I'm really liking it, and I think a lot of you will too. There's that map again and where I'm at. And again, of course, all the other things. Time, 313, all that stuff. So let me do one of the things I was talking about before. In order to do an element, I have to press up and A to do the element for Earth, which is the Earth element, or the ring, where I can turn certain things into stone. And as you can see, it took one of my canisters away. I replenish those canisters by killing creatures, the bad creatures, and it replenishes my canister. If I press down and A, it creates that bubble, and I use the attack to swim up and come and actually I haven't even done this part, so you guys get to see, we get to see this for the first time together. So I think a lot of these things, this might be a side story thing that sounds like it's going to come up, and that's something else I found is, yes, there are some side stories. So let's see, get through this. So it looks like I have a side story. One of the things I notice is it doesn't keep track of the side stories for me. So one of those things that we've gotten quality of life for over the years, we don't get in this. But it's just like the old 8-bit / 16-bit games we used to play. So, but I have to keep that in mind. I need to find a shell. There's another story. I gotta find some jewelry. I already did a book one, which is why I got the book right now, the language one. So there's definitely more to this game than just the mission that you have to save the kingdom. It's a lot of fun. So here's the water temple, or sanctuary, or the deeper part of it, and this is where I need to solve some puzzles and beat the main part of this to get the water element. Overall, I've been having a lot of fun with Aggelos, and it's been a lot of fun to where I want to keep playing this game and definitely playing to complete it. Now, according to how long to beat, it should take anywhere from 7 to 8 hours to complete. And so it's a good weekend game if you have time, probably to, sit and relax and play and complete through. Like I said, as you can see, it took me about 3 hours to complete, but there's basically, or not complete, but 3 hours to get almost halfway through. Especially when trying to get the water element. But there's 3 things that I like so far, and there's 3 things to be aware of. The 3 things I like so far: the Metroid aspects of this game. I'm a Metroid fan, Metroid Castlevania fan, or Metroidvania fan, so I'm enjoying those elements. The gradual increase in difficulty I like, because I can easily get into the game and start playing and having fun and not having to worry about it being difficult from the start. And number 3, the action RPG elements. It's basically be smart with the fighting and then use your gear wisely. So it's not totally crazy in depth with that type of stuff. So the other things that I said that to be aware of is, for me at least, is 1, music is great for me, but may not be for you. Maybe you're tired of this type of music, the 8-bit, 16-bit chip type music, or you might think it's awesome. So I think it's great, you might think it's awesome, best thing ever. Number 2, more people need to give this game a chance, definitely, because 1, I want to find more walkthroughs, especially for the Switch. Now there's plenty going on because I think this game is on Steam and you can play it on your PC through Steam. So I think there's a lot of walkthroughs in that regard. And maybe there's no differences But as a lot of people know, there's differences between playing a game with a controller or versus a keyboard, or however this is offered. So I just would like to see, I guess, a Switch guide, if you will, or walkthrough. And the third item, the map. The third thing is the map. I mentioned this before. The map isn't detailed enough for me. It's just basically your high-level view of the map or overworld map, but there's no map for the dungeons. That's the piece that I think is missing, especially being so close to having some Metroid elements to it, or Metroidvania elements to it. There's no dungeon map, no map to show me where I've been so far, or where I need to go. Especially because I'm where I'm at with the water level. First playthrough I had with it that you didn't get to see was me getting to the point where I got to a ring, but now I'm trying to figure out where the heck do I go to get the element itself. So I'm a little bit stuck. Of course, that's where the walkthroughs come in, so I get a little help with that. But also too, if I had a map of the dungeon that I'm in, I think it would help me out a lot as well. So with that, I hope that gives you an idea of what this game is. If you like it, you may want to give it a try yourself. And this is Tim. Thanks for checking this video. Check you later.